been a while. It has been a while. We are sitting on the pad here, once again, for the liftoff of Apollo 10. We started this a while back, and I think we got to TD&E, just a little past that, transposition, docking, and extraction. And then I just decided to go off on a tangent with Apollo 8. We didn't even finish Apollo 8, because I did like half of it for Christmas, and I wanted to do the return home. And the reentry is a celebration of the Artemis 2 mission, but the Artemis 2 mission ended up never happening yet. So I've just been kind of waiting for that, and then I'm like, well, fuck it. I've got, some other side quests I have to do with the Apollo Soyuz test project and all that, and those are still in progress, but we're here now with time to sit and do a little bit of Apollo 10, this time finishing it. It is quite a fun mission. For those who don't know, we're basically going to be doing the exact same things that Apollo 11 will be doing, minus the landing. We will be taken into some very interesting elliptical orbit for rendezvous purposes, but that's really cool because we actually get to test the radar at extreme ranges that you wouldn't necessarily see in a standard mission. So our rendezvous is going to be an absolute nightmare because of, well, the rendezvous programs on Apollo 10 are not as good as they are on 9 and 11. So that's going to be a challenge. Those programs in Apollo 10 were slowed down by a huge system bug. So we get to feel the full brunt of the exact same system bug that Apollo 10 had in the rendezvous sequence we have here. The computer is going to be dead slow. So, aside from the interesting rendezvous, this mission's a fantastic one. We're flying most everything manually, as opposed to, Apollo 10, or excuse me, Apollo 11, which has a fair bit of some auto maneuvers in there. We are basically going to be flying stick, looking at things as we pass over the lunar surface. It's going to be a cool mission, right? It's basically 11 without the landing and a really, really high orbit. So we're going to get a look at the moon with the highest altitude that anyone has ever looked at the moon whilst in its orbit. So we'll be going above 60 nautical miles, above the CSM, high elliptical. We'll get a nice view of the lunar surface from that very high altitude. It's not Artemis, well, what was going to be Artemis 3 levels of high altitude, but it's pretty high altitude, so I'm excited to sort of get there and show that off. Currently, we stand at T-minus 17 minutes. T-minus 17 minutes, 10 seconds. In about 2 minutes, we're going to have a potential adjustment to our launch azimuth, which I don't think we're going to have, unless we slip the launch window somehow. Or slip deeper into the launch window with a hold or something, but that's not going to happen. It's Apollo 10. We already know what's going to happen. So nothing's going to catch us by surprise here. I am not going to simulate the broken fuel cell pump. I tried it for one mission, and unless you're in real time, it's an absolute nightmare. So we're not going to do that. No broken fuel cell pump 2 on this, or pump 1 on this mission. But that's it. It's T-minus 16 minutes, 20 seconds. Sitting on board the lightest Saturn V. to have crew. Actually, no, I take that back. Apollo 8 may be the lightest. The lightest Saturn V with the full stack, LEM included, and a crew. No pogo suppression system on stage 2. That is a thing that... Actually, wait. Hold on. This might actually be an Apollo 10. Let's take a look. Oh yes, we do have the pogo suppression system on this stage. So this will be the very first mission to fly with the pogo suppression system on stage 2, although not as robust a system as post-Apollo 13, after the crew almost gets killed by the engine during the launch, actually. Not by the explosion later, but during the launch, the crew almost gets killed by the engine. If the mounting brackets on that engine were to fail as a result of pogo, if that engine basically stayed lit instead of shutting down, the crew would have almost assuredly died from the pogo forces on stage 2. So this will be the first rocket to fly with a pogo suppression system in the form of just a inboard cutoff, but nothing really actively suppressing pogo like post-13 changes. Here now at T-minus 14 minutes and counting, we are going to continue on, setting our switch positions for the stabilization control system for the launching configuration. These switches are going to have no impact on the launch if the instrument unit of the rocket itself remains operating through the entire duration of flight. If, however, we have a failure on the instrument unit on any of the stages after the first stage, we are permitted to take manual control of the vehicle and steer it directly into orbit ourselves. Thus, we need some switch positions set on the stabilization control system for the very small what-if chance that we do have to perform a manual orbit insertion. Prior to first stage separation, however, if a failure of the instrument unit were detected, we will automatically be jettisoned from the launch with the launch escape tower. This is something that is unrecoverable because the first stage operates on a pre-guided trajectory. It is open loop guidance, meaning it is not taking any signals from anything. It is following a set path of gimbal the engine this percent in this direction at such and such time after liftoff. And the whole thing is pre-programmed. So that first stage is impossible to control. Thus, if we do get any failures that would warrant manual control with the first stage, it is something we can't do, and we have to issue in abort with our launch escape tower. So T-minus 12 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. The next step in the plan here is to latch our fuel cell reactant valves in the open position at T-minus 10 minutes. The vibrations caused by launch can jostle the valves and change their position. Any fuel cells, which are basically our chemical reacting batteries, they combine hydrogen and oxygen, doing inverse electrolysis to get out electrons. That is that would be called hydrolysis for those who don't know. During the launch, we will latch those in the open position. We don't want any of those fuel cell valves to shut close as a result of vibrations, losing our mission potential. It is safe to operate on at least 2 fuel cells. If we go down to 1, it will be an emergency abort. 2 fuel cells is enough to run the entire mission, and 3 fuel cells is for our margin of safety. So we would like to keep those 3 alive through the duration of launch, and hopefully the whole mission. Thank you, thank you. Yes, I'm back. I'm back. Back again. Guess who's back? Tell a friend. Coming up on the T-minus 10-minute mark. The crew on the 320-foot level of the rocket. This rocket is taller than the Saturn V, or it is the Saturn V, excuse me. This rocket, the Saturn V, is taller than the Statue of Liberty. For those who did not know, that is a particularly interesting fact for me. Fuel cell reactants now in the latch open position. That switch doesn't just latch them open, it also latches the fuel cell reactant valves that may be closed in the closed position. It latches their current position. The next step at T-minus 8 minutes and 30 seconds is to, if we had our secondary cooling loop enabled, we would shut that down. We do not, however, so we can go ahead and omit that from the checklist. Following that, at T-minus 6 minutes, we will activate our thrust vector control servos. If for whatever reason during the launch we would need to abort on the service propulsion system, we will need the thrust vector control servos in order to use the gimbal motors. They're a dependency. Motors telling motors what to do, translating our hand control operation as well as the sensed torque from just the vehicle motion to inform the gimbal motors on how to move. How is this mission going to operate? RTCC or just teaching basics? We're just flying this for fun. We're just showing off Apollo 10. It's a mission I've never flown on this channel. I flew until TDE, and then I stopped, and then we were like, oh, it's Christmas, we should do Apollo 8, like classic, you know, like classic, oh, it looks shiny over there, and then we forgot about this. So, owe it to the people to finish this. From start to finish, we're doing Apollo 10. No RTCC, though. I've got enough RTCC. I've got Apollo Soyuz test project that I'm working on. I cannot do multiple RTCC missions at the same time. That would be absolutely ridiculous. So we are currently at T-minus 7 minutes, 40 seconds. Coming up on the activation of the thrust vector control servos. I think we're in long enough in this now that I can do some light time skipping, that the people who showed up will show up. We've got a couple people trickling in, but we could do, I think we are set to do a little bit of some light time skipping now. So T-minus 6 minutes, the thrust vector control servos on. Tied to their individual ties here, we can operate on AC1 main A for both. However, a loss of power situation on one of the main buses would kill that, also kill the AC bus, so we would completely lose a thrust vector control servo here, but we would have number 2 to operate, redundant pair. But if they were both on main A, for example, and we lost main bus A, we would lose steering capability of the SPS, not something that we would want. So we alternate the bus ties on that. Yeah, pretty much, honestly. honestly. And then I went and got myself sidetracked off here with I'm helping someone. I'm flying ASTP to learn it for myself, make saves for them for photography reasons. I'm not gonna talk too much about it. Those in the very tight circle know about it, and they're not going to talk about it either. But I think the results are going to be wonderful based on some of the things that I've been doing, the fun I have been having, and the complexity of the RTCC calculations has been unparalleled. Flying on two separate, like, ground elapsed times is ludicrous. It has been a challenge. So we will be doing ASTP at some point. However, I don't want to cut this person off. We're going to wait for what they have planned before we do ASTP. Launch vehicle engine lights are on. That means our EDS is operating perfectly. The engines are not running, but the interfaces to those engines are up. They are detecting the engines in a fail position right now because we haven't lit them yet. That makes complete sense. So no need to worry about that there. Pad comms coming off. Coming up on the 3-minute mark. We'll verify program 2. We'll punch in verb 75 and do not enter. Contrary to popular belief, we are, if we hit enter on verb 75, we are not going to abort. This is not like an abort program, a backup for the abort handle. Nope. This will simply just run the liftoff timer manually. It is normally run at the start of an ejection of an electrical umbilical as the rocket flies up. T-minus 3 minutes, verb 75, do not enter. We will start our voice tape recorder, moving forward, and talk back gray. How far have I gotten in the Apollo 8 RTCC tutorials? Oh yeah, I'll get to them. I got other things are more important right now. I will get to those at some point. But other things are more important. And also, I don't even know if I have the save for that anymore, so yay me. But I kind of just wanted to take a step back from tutorials and just fly like I used to. So, isolating our glycol to radiators in the event that we need to abort. We don't want to piss glycol everywhere, so we're going to isolate ourselves from the service module. We'll finish the RTCC tutorials, but quite frankly, most likely, I'm probably gonna have the ASTP stuff up before then, because I made promises. So I made promises that are stretching into content creation, but the outcome of those promises is going to be a net positive, not particularly for me, but for the community, and that's what I care more about. The space community gets that net positive, this cooperation that I have going with some people. It's gonna be good. Main bus tie is on. Let's turn down the lights just a little bit and crank up the integral mood lighting. We need the mood lighting. T-minus 45 seconds. Final alignment of the backup platform, if you will, the gyro display coupler, is complete and released, and we are go for launch. Here we go. T-minus 30 seconds. You can see that bottom swing arm coming back now. T-minus 18. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance release, and guidance is internal.
10, 9,
Liftoff. Yaw maneuver looks good. Roll and pitch program. Clear the tower. Okay, roll program complete. Entry landing system in manual. One Bravo. One Bravo is in abort mode. Cabin pressure is decreasing. Looking good, and we've got acquisition Grand Bahama. Max Q, passing through the area of maximum dynamic pressure. That means after about 17 seconds before that, we're sort of becoming transonic. Standing by for abort mode 1 Charlie. And there is the sound of space. Absolutely nothing. EDS is manual. Standing by for inboard engine cutoff.
Inboard engines out.
Inboard engines out. PCM bitrate to low, real quick, for staging. Almost forgot. Okay, we're go for staging. Please don't crash. There you go. All right, staging and ignition. Our thrust looks go. Standing by for tower jet. You can see that booster falling away. Is going to smack down somewhere. There we go. Skirt sep. Tower's gone. Okay. Manual pitch to rate command, and let's go ahead and start up our primary evaporator. Primary evaporator is go, and we are cooling and evaporating. Altitude presently 62 nautical miles. Velocity 10,380 feet per second. Plus 4 minutes. Acquisition over Bermuda. This Saturn V is just absolutely a gorgeous vehicle. And look at that. Since last time we streamed, I have an EVA stick for the light that pops out when the tower jets. So, details. Reflections off the command module looking absolutely spectacular as always. My favorite thing about the model is that reflective property. It is done just with such care and attention to detail, and you could see each individual crevice reflect light differently. You could see little warps next to the windows where things weren't exactly super perfect, as a lot of the stuff is handcrafted. You could see the handles, the small handles, the RCS pods. You can even see the vents for wastewater and urine. And you can see the sextant covers and the sharp angles of the docking probe. The docking probe did not always look this sharp. Coming up on S4B to orbit capability. In the event that we need to ditch the S4B stage, we will be required to burn with our service propulsion system, so we are going to prepare that for activation now. Gimbal motor 1, pitch 1, yaw 1, group 2, pitch 2, yaw 2. Gimbal positions are good. Fuel and oxidizer pressures are good. Switching to S-band Omni Bravo for comms signal strength reasons. Presently chugging along at 15,000 feet per second. Altitude 92 nautical miles high. Altitude rate is 55.7 feet per second. There have been a various other improvements since last time we were streaming. For example, the talkbacks in the command module are barber pole like this and gray like that. Whereas in the lunar module, they did the full transit across the whole surface. So that's a nice improvement. We've got some lighting improvements. Check it out. So lighting system is different. There's PU shift. We actually saw that. And we've got our inboard engine, or excuse me, that was inboard engine cutoff, not PU shift. We'll get PU shift in a second here. We got fixed for a second light and then a sort of a dimmable light. So here we got some snazzy upgrades going on here. And here's PU shift. And there it is. That's propellant utilization shift. We want to make sure that those tanks run out at the same time. So we're going to shift the utilization of our oxidizer to fuel ratio. Presently trucking along at about 21,000 feet per second. Altitude 100 nautical miles high. We are mode 4. Abort mode 4. Coming up on staging. And we have had the nominal staging and nominal ignition of the S4B engine. Steering converged, and we are on terminal guidance with the S4B. Acquisition, United States Naval Ship Vanguard. Flying overhead right now. This is a United States Navy ship which has been repurposed as a communication center for the Apollo missions. There are ground tracking stations capable of communicating with us, tracking the spacecraft, doing Doppler, all sorts of stuff. They even have their own Capcom. At T plus 10 minutes, we are go for orbit, standing by for shutoff of the engines in about 1 minute and some change. Velocity presently 24,000 feet per second, altitude 102.6 nautical miles high. And for those who are also unaware, the hatch has also got a significant upgrade compared to the PNG that was there before, which you can actually see in my trailer. Coming up on engine shutdown. Shutdown. Ullage motor is firing to fine-tune that orbital insertion. We are now moving at approximately 5 miles per second. Every second that elapses, we move 5 miles. So there was just 15 miles right there. We just moved 15 miles. Velocity, 25,566 feet per second. H dot, 0.6 feet per second. Average altitude above the launch pad is 103 nautical miles. Our current orbit, as it stands, being finely adjusted, but as it stands, 104.1 by 101.8 nautical mile orbit. Oh, hello, James. Welcome back. Digital autopilot looks good. We'll go ahead and proceed through the entire extended verb here and activate digital autopilot. We'll check our verb 83. We want to just make sure that register 1 and register 2 both equal 0. Very good. And we'll go ahead with our post-orbital insertion switch position settings. So this is going to be a, passing over a tropical storm at the moment. Propulsive venting has started. That is a most wonderful screenshot, which I will take. How's the audio quality, by the way? I made some fine-tune adjustments on the mic quality, so I'm hoping it's good. Let's get a little bit more light on here. I know that it's a bit darker on YouTube. Let's get just a little bit more light going. That's good, that's good. Yeah, I did not like the audio. Sometimes the audio drivers don't like initiate properly, and I have to restart the audio engine. So that's mostly what I was checking for. Oops. Oxidizer is greater than fuel. That means delta pressure should be less than 36, and that it is. SMRCS heaters, all on primary. We'll isolate the command module RCS propellant because we no longer need it in case of abort. We haven't even activated that propellant. We don't want to activate it until we absolutely have to. Space shuttle is confirmed to be in confirmed to come to reentry, but it is not something that is ready at the moment. It is something, however, that I can say I am currently testing. However, I cannot tell you what I am testing, much about it. That is up for Petrie to disclose. But I will say that, in my opinion, the simulation of the computer is far better than what reentry has done with Apollo. No offense, but the computer for Apollo in reentry, it does not sit well with me. And if anyone knows me, if they've been around long enough to catch me in a reentry VC or anything, they know that I have big beef with the reentry guidance computers. But the shuttle one is done with the shuttle, almost the shuttle entirely, is done with that same tender, loving care that went into the Mercury program for reentry. Because Mercury is absolutely wonderful. It is a damn near perfect, damn near study level simulation of Mercury. The systems are in depth. The sound design, the responsiveness is exactly what I want when I fly that capsule. That's the sort of tender loving care that's going into shuttle, which in my opinion was not there for Apollo, most likely because of the complexity of the simulation probably being overwhelming. Like Petrie probably doesn't feel the tender loving care when he's absolutely bombarded with thousands of pages of documents and confused about everything. I totally understand. So I'm not saying that reentry's Apollo is bad. It's good for learning the layout of the cockpit and everything and flying your first mission, but I have beef with the computer. I do have beef with the computer. Um, but shuttle is done with that same tender loving care that we see in the Mercury. So I'm really excited for the shuttle. That's all I can say about it. But when it comes out, get it. Like, we don't know what it's going to be priced at, if it's even going to be priced at all, but get it. That is my recommendation. Like, it is, if Petrie keeps up this same level of quality control and game design implementation and that same balance of realism to gamification, we might just be looking at the best simulation of shuttle out there until SSV gets more in depth. We're going to be looking at the best simulation of space shuttle for a long time. Why doesn't he use virtual AGC? Because virtual AGC requires a lot. To get the virtual AGC implemented, it took this NASP dev team like 10 years, and when they finally got it in to this thing, it threw them hundreds of program alarms, basically akin to you cut off all my limbs, you gouged my eyes out, and I can't breathe anymore. Because it was looking for the real IMU, the real sextant, the real interface with the thruster quads. It was looking for its limbs, basically, and it wasn't there at the time. So that was a 10-year endeavor, and I'm sorry, but I don't think Petrie's gonna want to go through that. Okay, yep, accumulator looks good. We are very stable on a secondary, so we're go on the secondary cooling loop. And radiator flow is initiated. Radiator heating. And temperature in can now go to auto. Potable water heater, we can turn that on. And now, let us let our ears bleed. Trust me, you tune it out eventually. Well, thank you very much. It is good to be back. Why doesn't Folgers help him with making Apollo more realistic? Because that's, again, that's not the aim of reentry. It's supposed to be a gamified beginner's experience, somewhere in between KSP and NASP. If Apollo and Reentry had the virtual AGC and it ran everything, I mean, you'd be having to do P23s and P22s and all these state vector updates and the complicated rendezvous programs that, because this computer does not support Hohmann transfers. Remember that. This is a 7-burn rendezvous. So you're looking at major complexity and something that's be borderline unapproachable for new players. Testing out the purging capability of the cells. Not actually doing a purge, but just making sure that the function works. Because that would be an immediate abort if that was not the case. Good response from our fuel cells here. For Bravo, battery relay bus. For Alpha, that shows our battery manifolds that we need to vent that. Lest we have explosive gas. It wasn't that the AGC wasn't good at orbital calculations, it was just that it didn't have the space. There are calculations the AGC does without the help of the ground at all. Through P-37, you can get yourself off the lunar surface and back home without help of mission control at all. And you can even do direct aborts. Turn that engine around, fire towards the Earth, and just basically, you know, like when your mom looks back behind you in the car and she's like, "If you don't knock it off, I will turn this car around." Computer is able to do that too, all on its own. Yeah, we're doing very good on our water levels here. SPS is looking good. Bugs is good. GDC is very well aligned. We'll go ahead and we'll take that. We will install the crew oh, sunset. Over this gorgeous desert, which reflects light from the ocean to the surface, combined with the sunset, with this really beautiful, it almost looks like a rainbow. You could sort of see that blue, or that purple, blue, green, yellow, red, and orange here. It is like a rainbow. That is crazy. Your optical alignment system is installed. Let's go ahead and plug a circuit breaker into that. We will mount the ordeal. And initialize. Time to do our ridiculously, impressively difficult mathematics. We will do 108.5 plus 103 divided by 2, and that's 105.75, our average orbital altitude. There you go. That was, oh my gosh, I'm sweating. That was some hard math right there. Whew. Okay, Earth. And let's drive that to, oops. Drive that to about 0. There we go. Maybe it's just a teeny tiny bit back. There we go. ECS redundant component checks. We'll go ahead and switch to the other suit compressor. Our O2 flow transducer is still occupied, but that is completely okay because we already did that secondary, or we already did the main regulator check earlier, because we knew it would be occupied here, so that's no problem at all. We will go ahead and just proceed then with the secondary cooling loop test. Pump tie to AC bus 1. We've got some good pump discharge pressure. Saw that spin up. She is stable. 39 to 51 is our target. No significant fall in the accumulator quantity, signifying no leaks in the system. And start up the evaporator. And we've got a good detection on steam pressure. And she's driving. We could see that system breathe, breath in, and exhale, breath out when she reaches temperature. Not literally breathing, but it looks like it. The system behavior is very organic. We've got acquisition Tanana-Reeve. Secondary loop test complete. Let's go ahead and make sure the accumulator starts to rise. Pump discharge pressure starts to fall. And we're good. Program alarm, because I accidentally hit the E key. And we are at full nighttime. I'm going to go refill my cup of water. I've been talking a lot. I drank my entire cup of water immediately when I started. When I get back, we'll do some light time skipping. And our activity after that is going to be the alignment of the spacecraft inertial measurement unit by use of the sextant. Not a nautical sextant, a space sextant. So if anyone hasn't seen how that works, it's a bit of a treat, especially if you're doing P22, and less so if you're doing P23. I will not be doing P23 as the risk of giving someone an epileptic episode with P23 is, well, it's actually pretty high, so that's why I never stream P23s, so yeah. Gonna go refill my water. I have returned from the water filling activities. Light time skipping ahead. Yep. ADHD moment. Yeah, for sure. True story. Okay. Dust cover jettison. Zero that out, and let's go ahead and mount the optics reticle. And we'll start our P-52. Optics mode, CMC. Here we go. So verb 37, enter. 52, enter. No, I have not. I have not. Verb 22, enter. 3, enter. Proceed. Proceed. We will be taking a mark on star 30 to start. Bam. Secret panel. Proceed. The spacecraft computer is going to find us star 30. I will pull up the overlay. Mark. $37 coming up now. Mark. Okay, star mark's complete. 5 balls, sports fans. Perfect score. Zero that out. Proceed. IMU adrift is 0.162 in pitch, 0.073 in roll, excuse me, 0.162 in roll. This is not the LEM. 0.162 in roll, 0.073 in pitch, and 0.045 in yaw. Go proceed, and the IMU alignment there has just complete. You saw it. Enter. 00, enter. And that completes program 52. Align our GDC. It's actually still very nicely aligned. We'll go ahead and we will keep that alignment. And that allows us to time skip. Our next procedure starts at 1 hour and 30 minutes prior to liftoff, or after liftoff. We're currently sitting at 51, moving at 10 seconds per second. Our next objective is the SCS attitude reference comparison check. This is just a reference between the computer's readout from the IMU and the attitude set boxes readouts of its thumb wheels, as well as the GDC with the same way. So we do it once on the IMU, computer readouts to attitude set, and then once on the GDC, computer readouts to attitude set. So we'll see that, but our first orbit is almost coming at an end, moving 5 miles per second. Acquisition at Honeysuckle. Once we get flying over the Cape again, we're going to get a bunch of information in regards to our burn that will bring us on the path going towards the moon. So, who's excited to be back at the moon again? Oh, anyone? Trans-lunar injection and its subsequent procedures are some of my favorites. You get the nicest screenshots, the coolest views of the SRB in some of those missions. It's going to be an absolute treat. So definitely recommend sticking around. I know once you get into orbit, it tends to be a little systems. Ooh, sun and sunrise. It tends to be a little systems heavy. Uh, but we're coming up on some really cool stuff. And this fade from just like look at that city lights to bam lights like just a couple of seconds away. Well, not for them, but for us. Glorious. I can confirm the Earth is round. I think official confirmation. I think we learned that after a couple of Apollo flights here and Gemini and Mercury. So I think at this point, the data stands. The scientists have all agreed Earth is indeed round. Standing ovation. Spectacular observation. My science skills second to no one. I'm kind of excited to get that screenshot of that hurricane here coming up again. Well, I'm not a meteorologist. I don't know if it's a hurricane. It could just be a typhoon or tropical storm. It could be so weak it's not classified as a hurricane yet. But it looks like a hurricane. So I'm going to call it a hurricane. Oh, I'm not excited for that. Are you kidding me? I can't deal with those flurfers. There's nothing I dislike more than a turf and a flurf. Verb 06, noun 20. Okay, 180.13, 13, and 1. Oh, yeah. They knew that people would try and say it was fake, so they decked that thing out in cameras. For engineering purposes, of course, but also for the purposes of proving people wrong. Nope, I don't like to spend my time with turfs or flurfs. Not something I particularly enjoy doing, so I don't laugh at stupidity. I think that it's embarrassing. Right? If you go to any other country besides the US, you are not going to see such a large amount of people that think the Earth is flat. In fact, even in tribes, most people don't even think it's flat. So this is just fucking embarrassing. And good. Okay, GDC. Okay, good. SCS attitude reference comparison check looks good. So at this present time, as it stands, all of our system checks are complete. And we are go for the translunar injection burn. Yeah, Apollo was just like some Joe Schmo, like holding a camera up to the window, like, oh, guys, I got this, like, I'm gonna try and keep it stable. They should have brought a chicken on board, strapped it to the hull. made it look out the window. Boom. Gyroscopically stable. Because for whatever reason, chicken heads are like... Have you ever picked up a chicken? You like move it around and its head is completely still. Crazy. Who needs gyros when you have chickens? That was the docking probe extended. You can see the difference from before to now. That was the very last systems check, ensuring the docking probe operation before translunar injection, and we are a go. Time skipping now to our computer uplink from mission control. Here is our translunar injection plus 90-minute abort pad. Mission control would like us to go program 00 or POO and accept. And we're going to inform them that we are ready for uplink. We can see the data for that uplink rolling in hot off the line. This is our CSM state vector, updating our computer's knowledge of where it is, as well as a remotely entered verb 66 to copy that state vector over to the lunar module slot. Since it's in tow with us right now, we're still using it. It also serves as a great backup slot after lunar module jettison. So we will only be using that slot as anything other than a backup after undocking. Uplinks complete. Computer's ours. Standing by for the TLI plus 4 hours abort pad. I wonder where that hurricane was. I could have sworn it was from this direction. Yeah, it was from this direction. There's, yep, the block data. And now we will get the actual important pad. Translunar injection pad coming up here in just a second. It could be, yep, there it is. It's just the ground has shifted beneath us, so we don't get a good view of it, but I could see the swirl. Okay, telemetry indicates we're a go for pyro arm. Ready to begin. Translunar injection burn checklist coming up in about at about 1 hour and 55 minutes. Currently sitting at 1 hour 49 minutes, moving 10 seconds per second. For anyone that doesn't know, we don't lie here. Anytime time skipping is indicated or is used, this indication in the top right corner will always be available. So if you're thinking if something is looking a little bit fast, check the top right. Something could be impressing you by how fast it is in real time, or it could just be that we're just lightly time skipping. We do a little light time skipping every now and then. We do some major time skipping in the rest periods. So keep an eye on that indicator if you're ever curious. The speed of things should still impress you. For example, that was just 10 seconds per second. And look at how fast we have traversed. Suit circuit return close. Let's go ahead and get our emergency detection system test going. Or emergency detection system. Excuse me, entry monitoring system. Where am I at? Okay, test looks good. And we're just gonna paste that in there. Yep. Don't feel like holding that button for 10 minutes. Uh, 20.2. GDC alignment still looks very good. Oh, wow. I really like you can really see the like blocks in the city. Like that's just it's crazy. You can see the roads interrupt the lights. We can see the beautiful sunset. Often nothingness. Time base 6 initiation is programmed at 2 hours 23 minutes and roughly 48 seconds. It's not always, the pad's not always super spot on. So we got to look with our eyes. The signal for TB6 programmed is an indication on the emergency detection system panel. So we don't need to worry about not knowing when it's programmed. The pad gives us an indication of when we should start looking, but the pad I find is usually like a second behind. I'm gonna go ahead and verify 31102 Pro. Verb 46, enter. Verb 83, enter. We're at 0.25 here now. There we go. And standing by for the time base 6 initiation. Sitting at 2 hours, 13 minutes, booking it at 10 seconds per second, May 18th, 1900 hours. Okay, we're gonna have our last looks at a sunrise coming up after ignition. We get a sunrise in the window, and that'll be our last view of it until we get to the moon. Last view of a pretty, well, not that the lunar sunrise isn't pretty, but last view of a colorful sunrise, I should say. Here comes time base 6 rolling in. PB6, that happened 3 seconds early. 2 seconds-ish. Staring at that light very intently. Very intensely. Waiting for it to extinguish. There she goes. That is a count up to our ignition time. The ET is started. Spacecraft control is stabilization control system. Oxidizer greater than fuel. Delta pressure less than 36. Good. CM and IU are uplink block. Coming up on ignition. Okay, T-minus 3 minutes to the Trans-lunar injection burn. Program 47 is in. Altitude set 200. Lunar. Orbital. Hold fast. Flew to a pitch of 17. Do I like the Artemis mission redesign? Yes. Because it actually makes sense. I like the new NASA admin. I do. You could tell that he actually legitimately cares for his job. So I do really like what he's going for. Like, it doesn't make sense to go from a circumlunar flyby to landing on the moon now. Like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. And I like that he wants to push for the higher launch cadence too. EMS normal. Ullages go. And we got our ullage. Modulating the tank pressure here. One minute to ignition. Yeah, the increased launch cadence, it's needed. You can't just learn how to build a rocket every time you build a rocket, right? You want to keep those skills sharp, and the only way to do that is by launching at least once a year, like not once every 3 years. You're gonna fucking forget what you were working on. Old Artemis doesn't make any sense. Might as well have not even existed. S2 sublight off. Oh, get the seats. Foliage complete. Fuel is leading. Ordeal mode too slow. We have ignition. Heading to the moon. Who's excited? Velocity is going to increase from 5 miles per second to about 15 miles per second, or 25,000 miles per hour. Yeah, we're booking it. Yeah, there were quite a few unmanned tests. Just 2 for the Saturn, but quite a few for the command module and the lunar module. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, Lunar Gateway is completely useless. From a physics standpoint, it doesn't even make any sense. Like, stopping at the moon to refuel is costing more time and fuel than it would be just to go to Mars. So Lunar Gateway is an option for staying on the moon permanently. Makes complete sense, but its original advertising thing as like a gas station to go to Mars, like no. I crunch the numbers, it doesn't check out. Ah, beautiful sunrise. Yes. Yeah, I like Gateway. Um, Mostly excited about the science prospects of having a lunar space station, not about the fuel prospects, because really there are none. The most fuel efficient trajectory is a slingshot. You can't do that if you have to park in lunar orbit. No, no, yeah, no. Unfortunately, that's not how that's gonna work. It's gonna take Starship like 15 to 25 launches to even refuel to get to the moon. So it's a terrible idea. You just build a rocket that's capable of going to Mars, like the Saturn is capable of going to the moon. There is our shutdown. All right, we're venting. Translunar injection trajectory looks good according to mission control. We are beginning our maneuver to heads down. We're going to hold a local vertical for a little while until we maneuver to separation attitude. This is not sped up at all. We are already this high after cutoff. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh. That's so far. It's like we just went in the spacecraft for like 2 minutes. And then we come out and we're already this high. It's crazy. 10 seconds per second. Our maneuver should be happening soon to our separation attitude. Okay, that maneuver is in works. I love watching this thing maneuver. It's so cool. That that's just that's just beautiful. The sheer speed at which we are traveling. Okay, maneuver is complete. Let's go ahead and do our command module RCS check. Um, no. No. In the past 50 years? Well, maybe. I guess we are bordering on to 60 years since Apollo. So I guess, yeah, you probably are. In 2 minutes? Probably, yeah, 100%. There's the United States. All right, have a good one. We're just about to do transposition and docking, and once we get uh hard dock, I'm probably gonna head out myself before we jettison the S4B. right. We are bringing ourselves up and undocking several minutes late. That's okay, though.
Translation.
Houston, we've got good separation.
There she goes.
Rotation.
Coming up on the sighting of the lunar module here. We're going to move into dock with it, and then we'll end off from there. This procedure here is called transposition and docking, and when we get back into resuming Apollo 10, we will do the extraction and our mid-course correction 1. That'll end flight day 1. We'll be on our way to the moon. It's sort of the fun part. And there she is. Stabilize.
Translation.
All right. Maneuvering to that docking attitude, we'll go ahead and take her in.
rotation, translation, rotation, translation, rotation, translation, rotation, translation,
Hard dock, or excuse me, capture. Not hard dock. CMC free. Let's let those vibrations stabilize. All right. Talkback's gray. We've got hard dock. Pyro's safe. Oh, man. I'll just pressurize. All right. We've got 3 hours, 30 minutes into the flight. It's looking a little tiny. We're just going to make sure we can open the hatch. Get to checking everything out. And we'll head out. Yep, this one we do need a photo of. Okay, LEM power looks good. We got the evasive pad. We got everything we need for ejection. With that, I'm going to call it a night. I'm getting tired. So, everyone, have a good time. Hope you enjoyed our flight. Hope you enjoyed proving the world is round. That the spacecraft does have enough delta V to get to the moon. Because we didn't use the spacecraft fuel. And I hope you enjoyed our discussion on reentry. So, I'll see you all around. Have a good one. And, feel free to shout at me and be like, hey, more stream. One stream, please. Because I'm very busy, so I'll see you guys around. Have a good one.